I'm not saying ethical. I'm just saying when people abuse the system for things that it's not intended for,
that's the
that can turn into like a vulnerability or a method to suppress people or to
get
do
what you're
something
saying.
not good.
I get what you're saying, Mr. Robert, and I do agree with you partially. But I also agree with Roger. It is demonstrating that the system is functioning.
Okay.
Flawed.
No, not
So,
flawed.
It's functioning.
so for, here's an example.
It is functioning.
Okay.
No, but here's the thing, right? So Trump has made a mandate that transgender people should be banned from the military. Now they're suing him for that, so that stays in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you could argue that is a vulnerability for national defense now, because they've put a whole bunch of people that aren't like 100% mentally capable or like at least emotionally potentially unstable in the military.
Right.
Okay, and the other thing was he wanted to make the government.
Whoa! Be very careful there, because you're on
Well,
dangerous grounds there.
first of all, thinking that when you're a man, thinking you're a woman, that is on its face like a mental condition already. My point is, besides all that, the Trump was elected by the people to do the things he said he was going to do, and that was one of them. And the other one was to make the government more efficient. Now these people are coming after him in the courts to try and stop that from happening. So they're literally working against the will of the people through lawfare. And I'm just saying that is a vulnerability in the system.
Now, see,
and that's not what it was intended for. Here it says,
let me kind of step in here. Hold up. Before we go farther on that, let me kind of explain to you something about the process, okay? Now, you say that it's a vulnerability and all this, but that's not the end of the story. Okay,
Mr. Roberts is
they go to the court system and they speak their mind to the court system. Now, that has to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court makes an interpretation of it. If their interpretation is correct and they feel that it is valid, then they freaking have to make the interpretation in the Constitution according to constitutional law. After that, if Congress feels fit to create that law that says either homosexuals can or cannot be in the military, then they can create that law. Okay? But they have to go through that process in order to do it. After that's done, then it's up to the executive branch, which is the president and his cabinet, to enforce that law through the Department of Justice.
The problem is they've got a whole bunch of bad actors in Congress, in the Department of Justice, bought off by people like Soros, and the WEF even openly bragged about it, that they owned like most of Congress. So now the system is basically non-functional because it's not going through a good faith system. It's being bought off. And that's why I think the president, correct me if I'm wrong, has the power to do the executive actions to be able to correct stuff like that, isn't it?
And right now, timing is important. You got to understand that Congress or the executive branch, which is the White House, and Congress is all dominant Republican conservatives. Okay. You're muted, Mark, I believe.
Mine?
Oh wait, okay, never mind. I was on the stream. I seen your mouth, but you got to realize that they have a certain amount of time where they need to get this stuff passed, or they need
totally.
You know what I mean? If
You
they
didn't see the Democrats holding back, right? Like, as soon as they had the power, they were just going for it. Whereas the Republicans tend to drag their feet for a while for some
well,
reason. I don't know.
Trump is an idiot when it comes to that shit because he turned around, he got in on his first term, and he started saying, "Well, forgive and forget." And this is
Yeah,
after
that's
everybody
right.
kept saying, "Put or fucking lock her up," and I was one of
Yeah.
those people that was saying lock.
Arguably, Trump in his first term was unprepared for realism. You could
Well, he was
call the
unprepared for
first term
the
being
shit
an
fuckery in
exercise
Washington.
for him, and yeah,
Yeah,
you could
he
say
was a cat that walked into a tiger match, and I think
Why?
he's a lot more wise this time. But the problem is he's let them water down his power by taking out people like what's his name, the guy that was going to be the head of the Department of Justice, Eats Mark. You know the guy. They basically said, "Oh, he had a sex scandal. Where he was like tangentially involved, but not really." And then he just quit. And then
Yeah,
they put in Pam Bondi, which is just completely fucking retarded. Um, she hasn't been able to pull off anything, and Trump keeps like congratulating her when she hasn't done anything. Um, what's
th-
his name? It's
this
gonna
goes
annoy me
back
now.
to the hot chick thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Well, he's got a bunch of daughters, and I think he sees her as like a daughter almost or
no,
something. I don't know.
that's
I
not.
mean, I mean, a good thing in UK that we occasionally have cabinet reshuffles. In fact, I'm expecting a cabinet reshuffle in the next couple of months after after yesterday's local elections. But in the US, it's these sort of cabinet reshuffles are not all that common.
In the U.S.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the reason why is because they have to work around that. Now, people do their terms, and then they have a certain amount of terms they can do. So what they do is they take a break and they switch to another freaking political uh, seat. Okay, so the thing of it is you can actually own more than one house. All right, so if you go outside of a district and you buy a house outside of a district, you can wait a year and then go into that district and run for office.
Same in this country. You have local elections. Not sure about the data for yesterday's, but in the past you've had local elections where the candidate didn't even come from that area. So
Okay, so
the guy's name is Matt Gates. Yeah, have you heard him speak before, Matt Gates?
no, I've never had a chance to.
Oh man, he is
okay,
awesome. He was like, he's a weapon, man. He calls it
yeah,
like it is. I'm sure you've seen his face before. This guy.
I'm just
Uh,
yeah. Lawyer and
he
former.
just like calls them out hard, man. He would have been the best for the job by far, and I'm so
Yeah,
disappointed he quit.
Okay,
He would have had all the Epstein
who
files on his
was
head by now.
representative for the first Congress. So
yeah, okay,
Yeah,
guides.
they accused
yeah.
him of child sex trafficking and statutory rape, apparently,
Mhm.
which was total bullcrap. And
Did he go to
then
court?
he just didn't want the heat on Trump because he wasn't elected yet, and so he quit or
Yeah,
something
Did,
like that.
did he? Were those allegations brought out in the
No,
court case?
it was never
never
tried
got.
or anything like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what's so suspicious about it. You know what I mean? Because like they made
Yeah,
the
it's just an
allegation.
allegation, right? They can just throw any allegation at you, and it looks bad in the media. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Uh,
and that's what it's turned into. Like nobody's actually saying, "Freaking, let's take this to court." You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna run and hide, dude, because I don't want my name drug through the
that's
mud.
why the media is the greatest weapon in the U.S. and it can destroy anyone without a trial, without a jury, without anything.
Okay, so
That's true. That's true throughout the world. The BBC, Sky.
But
Yeah.
my point was, in his first term, he did poorly because he surrounded himself with people that weren't loyal, that weren't on his side, all sorts of stuff like that. And by letting stuff like this happen, he's letting the opposition know that all they have to do to like get him to do what they want is to accuse people of things, a bit of blackmail here and there, but he has gotten better though. He's just fired his head of was it the military? He fired the head of the military, and he's just fired that guy who invited the newspaper guy into the Signal chat just the other day. He fired him as well. So,
well, that's, he had good cause to fire.
So, with that being said, this is where we're going to turn it over to you, Mr. Robot. I put the link in the private freaking chat on the sides for the topic that you wanted to talk about, which is up. And this one has to do with populists are gaining power and keeping it. What comes next? So,
okay, I'm just trying to find the thread that it was on.
Okay. Well, I've got the link. I've got the link that you posted in the chat.
Oh yeah. Can you like reply to it again in?
No, it's right here in Rumble, in the private live chat.
Oh, okay, but I posted a whole bunch of links. Remember, if you can find that thread, you probably didn't see it.
Which site?
It's on Politico, is what he got. So
the
one that he posted.
Let me try and find this thread.
You want me to put it on our chat?
It's all right. I'll find it in a second. Here it is.
It's
so basically, I wanted to just talk about how people are starting to wake up to the great scam that's been played on them.
Don't run through that whole thing yet, because freaking go into your article and discuss.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, fact basics.
Yeah.
So this is about populism on the rise, and I noticed this first started in like 2022, and then when was this one this one has only just been published recently. In 2017, Donald Trump was almost the only nationalist populist leader in the West. Liberal democracy, its protection at home and its promotion abroad was the political default across America and Europe. The United States' marquee conference for hard right conservatives, CPAC, featured only one major foreign speaker that year. Britain's Nigel Farage, who had just resigned leader of the United Kingdom Independence Party after a successful Brexit campaign. They proved that Brexit was also basically a psyop by the intelligence community as well.
Please.
No, it's true. Cambridge Analytica and all those companies, they swung the vote. But anyway, I digress. 8 years later, I'll prove it to you later, Mark.
Yeah, you'd have to.
8 years later, Trump had joined on the world stage by a plethora of right-wing populists, and nationalism had become mainstream. CPAC 2025 was a verifiable international event with guests ranging from Argentina's President Javier Milei to Slovakia's Prime Minister Robert Fico to Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni.